What's going on, everybody? My name is John, also known as TheColeArtist on Instagram. And as you can tell by the name, I'm an artist. I've done several different kinds of art, ranging from comic book drawings to realistic portraits, paintings. I've done tattoos for people as well as logos. So I've been around the block as far as this art thing goes. So that's what I do. So for me, it was always a funny story how I got started doing art. I remember as a kid, I was always impressed by the visuals of a show called Dragon Ball Z. Pretty sure you all know about it. So that was one of my favorite shows, and I was always impressed by the visuals, the way everything was drawn, and it kind of really piqued my interest. And as a kid, I always wanted to recreate how that looked. So I spent a lot of time redrawing Goku, Vegeta, all the other characters, and it just took off from there, really. I remember right after kindergarten, in first grade, my parents saw the talent that I was displaying when I was drawing these things, and they decided to get me tested for talented art, and of course I passed. So ever since first grade all the way up into high school, I've always been in talented art, doing different kinds of projects, using pastel pencils, painting, obviously drawing on paper, things like that. So that's pretty much how I got started. So for me, I don't know if I have a favorite part of the creative process, but I can expound on things that I do enjoy about each part, each phase of the project that I'm doing. So for instance, it all starts with the foundation of what you're gonna do. This is pretty much brainstorming. What's the concept? How do you want it to look? Do you want it to be more stylized, more realistic? In this portion, in this phase, I like to go on Pinterest and get a bunch of different pieces to look at, some inspiration, and I kind of build my idea off of things that I see. So that's the first part, and then it starts with the sketch. So in the sketching phase, you want to kind of study how you're gonna draw it. You want to look at the anatomy, particularly if you're doing a human figure. How should the arm connect? If it's rotating in a certain type of way, how everything connects. What's the dynamic portion? What perspective of the drawing should the looker be looking at the picture from? So also in this sketching phase, you kind of want to gauge what should be there, what shouldn't be there. It's a lot of erasing and refinement in this stage. And then it obviously goes to the refinement portion, which is putting in the details. You want to get everything pristine at this point, kind of get those sketch marks out of the picture at this point. Just getting everything ready to go over with the color now. So obviously once you get to that portion, putting the color in, what's the light source? Is it bouncing off of several different objects? How would that reflect onto the human or whatever else you're drawing? Just kind of want to study those things. So I really enjoy bits and pieces from each one. I will say it's very time consuming. I pay a lot of attention to my art that you'll see. I like to go in with excruciating detail pretty much on every aspect of the drawings that I do. So what tool that I can't go without? Obviously, for what I do a lot of digital art nowadays. I used to do mostly things on paper or that style of medium, but I do a lot of digital work now. So obviously I need my iPad, my Apple Pencil. I use this program called Procreate. It has a lot of tools on it that I can use, but I will say more important than any of those things. Obviously that's important because that's what you're putting the artwork on, but I think it's more so your imagination. That's probably the biggest tool that an artist has, because you can draw, you know, any old thing, and you can pretty much recreate anything you see on Pinterest. And what did you do? You just created something that somebody already has. But to put your spin on it, that requires imagination. So I think imagination is probably the best tool an artist can have. So the best advice I've ever gotten as an artist is to take my time. Taking your time is really important because you don't want to rush greatness. That makes sense. So obviously you don't want to rush greatness. I think when I was younger, I used to, you know, be so excited to show people what I've done, show my art. But in the meantime, I'm missing, you know, critical things that I know I could have done better on. As I've gotten older, and even still to this day, I can look at things and say, man, I could have did that better. I could have did this better. And that all that comes from taking your time. So what I like to do nowadays is kind of, once I get everything set in stone, I let my imagination, you know, take control. And once I start doing that, I start going in and, you know, nitpicking different things and making this better. I could, you know, add some more detail to this spot, or I can add a highlight right here. And you can kind of see it in my artwork. If you really zoom in on a lot of stuff, you can see a lot of small details in my art. And that's kind of really what I pride myself on. A piece that I'm really proud of is this futuristic cyberpunk looking guy. It's pretty stylized, with a lot of details in the face, some texture in his jacket. His face is kind of opening up in certain areas because he's obviously in this futuristic cyberpunk world. So he has his face breaking away in certain parts, and you can see like the machine pieces coming out of his face. And I really put a lot of detail in it. So that's one of my latest projects that I'm working on that I'm really proud of. I have some new things in the works right now that'll be posted on my Instagram at TheColeArtist. But so I do have some new things that I'm going above and beyond on, even past the one I just spoke of. I have a nice portrait that I did for someone. It's probably one of the most realistic portraits that I've ever done, and I'm really proud of that. But personally, I like to do stylized style drawings. So that one about the futuristic cyberpunk looking guy, that's my favorite one so far. I guess my most memorable moment for me was when I was younger in middle school. Obviously, I did talented art throughout my school tenure. But once I got to middle school is when we actually started competing for awards. So while I was in middle school, I did a portrait of Lil Wayne, Drake. Those are two of my favorite artists at the time. I did a portrait of Monica, and several different other kinds of art. So in middle school, we submitted all these things to some competition. I forget what the name of it was, but I actually won first place, and that was a pretty big moment for me. I still have the trophy and ribbon with my mom and everything like that. So that was a big moment for me. So as far as my style goes, a lot of different things inspired me as far as that goes. Obviously as a kid, Dragon Ball Z has inspired a lot of my initial artwork. It was more anime style. I used to draw the anime eyes, different looking hair, things like that. And as I've gotten older, I tried my hand at portraits. especially in middle school and high school. We were taught to use the grid system, pastel colors, and I really learned how to blend colors while I was in middle school. So that came with a lot of practice in terms of how lighting affects the face, and through that, portraits became my favorite thing. I like how realistic I can make something look, and I've only gotten better with time. And another thing that influences me or inspires my style are different artists from around the world. I like to look at how they do things compared to mine, see what I can do better. There are a few people on Instagram that I follow that also do digital art. So I look at a lot of their things and kind of see what I can do differently than them, see what I can do similar to them, and how I can add to it or improve something in my own style. So I get a lot of different inspirations from different areas, and I would say mostly other artists like myself. So I am the most creative in random bursts. I never know when that creative itch will come out of me. It's not particular in the morning. It's not particularly at night. It's very random. I could be at work and I'm just like, man, I got this idea. I need to get it on paper ASAP. So if I'm in my office, nothing's going on, I'll probably sketch it on a sticky note, and so I can have that memory once I get back home, and I can kind of flesh that idea out. Sometimes it's days before I, pick up my iPad pencil to start drawing again. Could be a week or two, honestly. So it really does come out in bursts. I like to take my time when I get these ideas, because I want these ideas to be fully fleshed out once I get that idea. So it's gonna sound a little corny, but I would say my creativity is my peace. During hard times, stressful moments, even the good times, doing my art, that always brings me peace. It keeps me grounded. It does a lot of things for me. A lot of people have different kinds of stress relievers and things like that. And doing art is my stress reliever. It slows things down for me. It's my moment of silence, and I'm able to just be to myself and just kind of explore what my mind is thinking. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, or anything in between, I can express that in my artwork. So again, my creativity is my peace.